The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
All right, Mike Clowney, final road game of the season. You had the UVA Wise and Carl Smith Jr. Stadium. Starts off with a statement about Dane Damron's Highland Cavaliers.
You know, UVA Wise is a good football team. I think, that's the thing that we've learned. We've played them more than anybody. We played them during the COVID year. Went up there 2 years in a row. Good football team, good environment. They'll make us get up early, come over there, play a 12 o'clock kickoff. But it's something that our kids are looking forward to being able to play again.
The winning season is still potentially in the offing. How crucial is that for this program as it develops and grows?
I think it's something that, we definitely want to be able to accomplish. It just kind of on paper, it keeps you, at least in the same ballpark that you were in last year. The biggest thing we got to do is try to figure out, what's on paper versus what's off paper. The big thing that we want to do is, continue to grow, continue to be competitive, continue to move the program, in the direction that it needs to go in.
Defensively, your pass rush has really developed. Really since October started. It was there in September, but it has turned into an elite pass rush over the past 4 weeks. You're fifth in the country in sacks. I've been doing Carson-Newman games for 12 years. I don't remember being able to rush the passer like you have been here of late. What is that development owed to?
The guys up front, like I said, they continue to do a good job of working. It was cool. That's what we talked about in our meeting Monday. This game this past Saturday, the things that you work on the field, during the week, you're actually starting to see show up, on film on Monday mornings. And then, just being able to have that success, I think a lot of times will breed more success. It's been a total effort from our defense. Front's doing a good job of getting pressure. Guys on the back end have done a really good job of getting guys covered up to continue to buy them time. It's a formula that it normally works. We'll need it. We'll need it this week. UVA Wise is a super talented football team on the perimeter and in the air. Coach Damron does a great job of what they do in the passing game. And so, it's something that, we'll have to make sure we bring that with us this Saturday.
Is it owed to more the front four or your back four covering people up?
It's like one of those things. It's a good debate to have because they really, truly do work together. And I think it's probably a fair balance of both.
You allude to UVA Wise's passing game. It's at least in the past, it's been a little bit different than anything else that anybody faces. A lot of quick hitters, which negates the ability to get pressure on the quarterback. And they've got one of the better receivers in the league, in Dorian Goddard. What sticks out to you about their aerial attack?
Number one, Goddard's he's kind of become a staple in the conference, and so we've got to make sure that we're aware of where he's at and what he's doing. But I think the other thing that they do is just the tempo that they work at. They do a good job of just basically taking what you give them. If you give them short underneath routes, they're going to play pitch and catch. If you get up in their face, and they're going to throw the ball over top of you. And so we've got to make sure that we do a good job of kind of staying balanced with the things that we do. Got to do a good job of tackling. When they do play pitch and catch, we got to get the ball tackled, and then we got to be ready to get lined up fast, communicate, and play quick.
I think probably the impressive thing about their offense this year is the development of their running game between Javion Gillespie and Xavier Lomax. It feels like they've got a ton of guys that are capable of going off. How they integrated the run successfully this year?
I think this year, a big thing for them is like they've gotten better up front. Last year I know they were really young up front. Those guys have had a little bit more time to grow and develop, which is kind of equated to, the talent that they have in the backfield, have an opportunity to be more productive. And the big thing is they're similar to us in the fact that they do have, a bunch of different guys that get opportunities. And, when they get those opportunities, they're working to kind of make the most of it.
Tremendous balance on Saturday with both 200 yards rushing and passing. And a ton of different guys involved in that. Jaden Sullivan's first player in I don't know how long, who has a 50-yard rush and a 50-yard pass caught in the same season. James Maddox scores a touchdown. It seems like anytime he touches the football. What do you see out of that group that you kind of alluded to it when we were talking about whys, but so many different guys are doing good things when they have an opportunity in that backfield?
I think that's one thing with that room is like I think there's just a lot of talent in that room, and I think it varies. Like those guys in the room, they all kind of have a little different skill sets, which gives us the opportunity to do some different things with them. I think Coach McKeithen and Coach Weaver and our offensive staff have done a great job of kind of being able to mix that up. It's just cool when James gets in the end zone, to watch our guys celebrate and have a good time. Just being able to, like those guys with the versatility to, like, talk about Sullins, being able to, rush the ball and catch the ball out of the backfield, which we can line him up as a receiver. We can line him up in the backfield. TC, great rush for a touchdown. Tyree has done a good job of just coming on and becoming a more consistent player for us.
Bring up TC. Second in the conference in rushing touchdowns. He has been a bruising back throughout his career. What has he done to take his game to the next level in, I guess, what we want to call this season? Redshirt junior year?
He's a talented kid, and he's got a lot of size. He can run. The big thing has been just kind of keeping him healthy. He's starting to kind of get to the point to where he is a little bit healthier. I think he understands his role a little bit more. It's like we started off just trying to get a bunch of guys doing a bunch of different stuff, and then, just kind of getting to where, like, now they understand what they're doing better, which gives them a better chance to execute. They understand a little bit better, like, where that hole is supposed to be for them to hit it. Early in the year, like, we just had a bad habit of just kind of bouncing everything outside. I think guys are starting to kind of be able to see and feel, what's going on in the offense, and TC is a guy that's definitely benefited from that.
Offensive line. I'm still gobsmacked at what it's done, given how hurt and dinged up and, I guess, unplanned this iteration of the O-line is. Outside of Christian Jones, who you're starting 5 on Saturday, the other 4 from left guard over to right tackle either hadn't started or are not at the positions at which they started the season. What can you say about their growth and development for a group that, you just rolled up 470 yards of total offense against an Henry defense that was only giving up 330 a game. With that offensive line, that week 1, I don't think you would have been able to toss darts at the board and say, here's your 5 in week 8 or week 9.
Nah, man, those guys have been unshakable. To go back to the theme, they every single day, like, we don't know who's going to be here. We don't know where they're going to be. You go to practice every day with your toes crossed just because you want to try to get the same group to a game at least 2 weeks in a row, which last week was probably as close as to being able to do that as we've been able to do. But those guys have been resilient. We've moved them around like checker pieces, and, they can just continue to show up every day. And it's finally starting to see, fun to see some of that work pay off, starting to get a little bit better movement. The guys up front, they're kind of getting a little bit of cohesiveness from a communication standpoint. That group has to probably work closer together than any other group on the team. And so, like, one big thing that you want is consistency and continuity there. And we haven't had that, just from, the same guys. But I think Coach Ray and Coach Pepin's kind of done a good job of kind of instilling that into that entire group, to where we have been able to kind of mesh different guys in different places and still give ourselves a chance to compete.
Something that I think ties in with that, your tight end position, which Drew Morrison has done it about as long as anybody, but you've mixed in 2 true freshmen, R.J. Brooks and Eli Davis, into what is more often than not for Carson-Newman's offenses historically a second tackle as opposed to a pass-catching tight end. What have you seen from that group, especially the freshmen, to help move people?
that's where you talk about Drew. Coach Crider does a good job with those guys. Drew's been here, kind of been that steady Eddie. We continue to work, push him every day. I think one thing that he's done is he's done a good job of helping transition the young guys. RJ has played that position all year, kind of been through a couple growing pains as a freshman, which you experienced, but has continued to kind of grow and develop. And then one day, EJ comes over, he's like, I was all-state tight end, And we were scrambling there just to find guys. We moved Gavin Gosnell to quarterback, just kind of super unselfish move for him. When you go in, guys play quarterback all his life, wants to play quarterback. He said, hey, man, will you go to tight end just to give us a chance this week? And he's like, I'll make a couple phone calls, and, I guess he probably consulted with some people in his family, and, just to have him come in and say, Coach, I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever the football team needs me to do, I'll do. And that's the type guy that we have at that position. I think it speaks to that whole group. I think it speaks to the guy that coaches them, Coach Crider. So they're just an unselfish group that's willing to kind of go in and work and learn, and just encourage them to continue to do that.
Defensively, UVA-wise, fifth nationally in defensive touchdowns this season. You're coming off of a game against Emory and Henry where you faced a team that turns people over right and left. Ball security for Carson-Newman has been okay for the most part. Have only played turnover-free once, but what's that take against a Wise team that clearly is capable of not only turning people over, but taking it to the house?
The thing that we've got to continue to do is make our guys be conscious of how they're securing the football. You do the drills, and in drills they do a fairly decent job of it, but last week, that's what I told the scout team, I told Gatorade, they bring me a football. Just making guys conscious of carrying the ball, because you carry it so much, it's easy to get comfortable with it. But guys just have to make sure that they do a good job of securing it so that we don't fumble it. And then at the quarterback position, we just got to be smart with how to handle it. We got to take good reads. We got to throw the ball in the hole. And if something's not there, then, there's a fine line between being confident and cocky. We got to play with great confidence, but we don't need to be cocky to the point that we give them an opportunity.
Anything else?
That's all I have.